Hello and welcome to another tutorial in my How to Draw Birds series. Now before we start, of course, if you could subscribe, that would be really nice, thank you. And also ring the little bell icon if you want to know what's coming up next. Okay, well the bird today is a penguin. Now I'm going to start with the head, and it's a slightly flattened ball shape, so you come up like that, flat across the top, and then curve around the side like that. It's slightly to the side as well. So instead of coming down here, you kind of imagine it squash coming this way. The beak's going to come in here. So this part of the head comes in like that and then curves up following that line there. And then there's a bit of colour coming down this side of the head here. So I'll put that in and join it to this line here. And this line here will continue down, slope over the shoulder and down the side of the body. But let's put the beak in first. Now this beak means business, you know, it's the beak for catching fish and so on. So it comes from about here, comes up the way, like that, and a little bump at the end, then to a fairly sharp point, fairly narrow at the top, come in like that, and the bottom curves from there a lot more deeply like that. Okay, and just about here, in this penguin, there's a nice kind of, almost like an arrowhead shape. And that's going to be a bright yellow colour. Okay, and the eye, follow that line in there, the eye comes in about here. Draw a line, and then you draw a kind of curved shape for the eye, like that. Okay, now the rest of the body, as I said, that's a shoulder shape, and I want to imagine that the penguin's wearing a cloak, you know, so the edge of the cloak can be seen attached here and curves over the shoulder and comes down, and the other side of the cloak, there's the other shoulder there, and where the cloak comes in like there. Okay, now the body is long, of course, long and pretty fat, so it comes down like that, continues all the way down here, and keep going, keep going, keep going, right, down like that, and it starts to curve in at the bottom. Oops, come in a bit there, I'll sort that out later, and then comes across like that. Okay, and put a bit of shading in there, and two little stubby legs, like that, one there, one coming in there. Between them there's a tail, as you just see in the background, coming in like that. Of course there's a bit of a wrinkly skin here, and then three big toes with big nails, but also of course you've got the webbing in between, but you've got like almost like a triangular shape, and toes there. And then we come in there with the webbing in between. Then that one coming in there, the big nail. And as I said, again, another almost triangular shape with the nail there. And then that, of course, the flippers. You come down about a third of the way along here, then you just come out and a nice curve to a point about there. Nice rounded point, and bring it back in a curve to join the body about there. And the other one here comes out a bit further, and then you'll get a shape coming out like that, with a curve. Gives it a bit more, looks as if it's just about to raise its flipper. Like that. Okay, there we have a nice penguin shape. Okay, I'm going to put a bit more detail in just now. Before we do anything else, and we have a dark line on the flipper coming down here to it there, going back up to there, and then the dark part of the black part starts about here, and this one comes down to it there, then goes back up to about here. Okay, now what I'm going to do now, because I'm going to actually use coloured pencils on this, so I'm going to get a pen and I'm going to outline my pencil line here and then clean it off rub out the pencil lines, because if you use colour pencils on top of actual graphite pencils, you tend to, you know, smudge the colour into your colour pencil colour. You don't really want that. Okay, I have a 0.8 pen. I'm now going to go over my pencil lines, and as I start to come up here and go around, I don't tend to use a very straight line or even line. I'm trying to get the sense of the little tufts of the feathers on the penguin's head, so I use that kind of slightly ragged line coming around here, like that. Okay, a bit smoother when I come down to join this shape here. And when you're drawing the eye, get a nice angled curve there, and then when you're drawing the bottom part, do a curve coming up like that, but then double it up, because I want to leave a little bit of white in there. Okay, so I'll just carry on doing this now, and I'll catch up with you when I've done it. Right, I've outlined my drawing with a pen and rubbed out the pencil lines and ready to colour. Okay, so these are the colours, very simple colours for a penguin. Black, of course, and two types of yellow, a warm and a cold yellow, and red and orange. Okay, and I want to start with this shape up here, this kind of spearhead shape on his bill, and start off with the yellow, the warm yellow, and colour it like that. And then get your orange and add a bit of orange to the bottom part. Try and leave the top a bit more yellow, like that. Okay, that's kind of all you need. Maybe a wee touch of the red at the bottom here, and to get a wee bit of depth to the colour there. Okay, and the other part where you'll find this kind of combination is on its chest, and start off with the warm yellow under there, and it kind of covers this area here. So basically, you know, kind of roughly just faintly draw your line like that, almost like a bib, like that, okay? And then colour in there. And once you've done that, then you can get the orange and start off just under here. And put the weight on your pencil at the top to make it dark, and then take it off as you come down to join the bottom half of the shape here. So you get that kind of graduation. See that? And maybe a little touch of the red just up here again for a bit of depth. Just in here. Try and blend it into your other colour. Like that, so it's not too obvious. Okay, now we take the lemon yellow, the pale yellow, and we bring it into this shape here, and it doesn't go all the way down, it stops about there. So in fact you get it's like a slice of lemon almost coming in there, like that. And where you'll also find this lemon colour is down the side here, coming out of this bib shape, and then just kind of smoothing itself down the side towards the flippers, coming down on the other side, like that. Okay, maybe touch a lemon up here as well over that. There we are. So really that's all the colour you need in the penguin. Now we're going to use black to bring out these shapes here and the flippers and so on. Okay, now when you use the black, you'll find that when you're colouring the penguin in, there are various gradations of the black. You know, so there's some very black areas and some areas that are not so black. One of the areas not so black is the top of the head here. You come along from the top of the beak, and then draw a rough line coming over just above the eye, come across to this area here. Whereas it looks black is actually a very dark grey colour. So if you shade in your black like that, not too heavily, up to the line, okay? And then once you start to shade on the beak, then put a lot of weight on your pencil rather, and make it nice and dark, like that, as it comes in past that shape there, and up over the top of the eye there. and down the other side. Okay, so that kind of intensity of black I'm going to use right around here and also under here. But as I come up to the top of the beak here, again take the weight off and make it slightly less dark. Okay, so I'm going to work on that just now. I'll go back to you once I've done it. Right, I'll shade in the head now, and moving down to this cape shape that I mentioned earlier. Okay, you draw a little dark line just up the side of this slice of lemon here. Okay, and these areas, these triangular areas, are not too black. So again, take your black pencil and just shade them in a dark grey colour, like that. Coming in there on both sides. And these lines that are left here, they are black. Okay, so that would be a continuation of this black here. Just bring it in like an edging. Okay, and that will come in around here too. So this black that I'm going to use here will continue down here, around these edges, down here, around these edges here, up here, and a bit of shading around here and black on the tail. But I'll come back here once I'm down here. Right, I've shaded in these black edges to the flippers now, and around the edge of the body, and just down to the bottom now. And basically what you're doing is drawing a bit of shading in here. You can imagine the penguin's tummy curving under, so you'll get a nice bit of shadow appearing here. So again, use your black pencil rather, and get a bit of light shading in there coming up. And you can also bring a bit of shading up the side of the penguin here to suggest the roundness. Just take your weight off your pencil and use it in a kind of circular motion. Coming down nice and gently like that. And also a bit of shading in the fins here, and the flippers down the other side. And then coming up from the black edges, like that. And this one too. A bit of shading coming up here. And down to the bottom. Right, okay, a bit more shading here. Get that roundness. Okay, coming down to there, down the side of the leg. And then we come right down to this part here, which is the tail, as you can see between its feet here. Again, that's black, so shade that in nice and solid. Coming up into your shading under the penguin's tummy there. Like that. Okay, now down to the feet. The white feathers stop about here on the other side, and below that, black. But what you can do, and those wrinkles that I drew earlier, leave them white at the moment. Alright, leave a couple of wrinkle shapes white. And as you come down to the front of the feet, get a bit of shading in between the toes here, like that, and then bring it up lightly towards the top. Maybe in this one, light on one side and dark on the other. Makes it more three-dimensional. Same with that triangular shape that I mentioned. And then black up here, coming around over the top of the foot there. And the actual toes, very dark, but leave the top light as if it's, well, it's shiny, you know, it gives you the impression that it's shiny. Yeah, that same with this one here. Okay, we'll do exactly the same on this one as we did on that one. Alright, just finishing that off. Then back up to those wrinkle shapes that I mentioned earlier. Just go over them very lightly. Make sure they still stand out, but not too much. Okay, now to finish off, I'm going to get a much broader pen and go around the edge, and that'll really bring it to life. Right, okay, here we are with the broader pen, and I'll start off with the eye shape, just the centre part nice and black, but leave that little white rim around the edge, see that? And then go on to the beak now, nice and smooth, up around the edge. bring it in slightly, but stop there. Then as you go around the top of the head, as I said, make it slightly ragged so you get this sensation of the penguin having its little quill sticking up, like that, all the way around. Okay, and you can do that on the body, there, like that. But as you come down to the flippers, make it much more smooth. So that's like just a continuous line like that. Okay, I've outlined that with my broader pen now, and just finishing off at the top here. And this wee line under there, and down there, and that's it. Maybe extend that beak very slightly this way. There we are. Excellent. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can join me again for another tutorial. But in the meantime, of course, all the best, and happy drawing.